So you have to, that's it. So you'll have to bear with if things go slightly astray at times, but we will be doing our best as ever. And I'd like to start by asking you all to please indulge me for a minute as I do one of my introductions to the session with, some people know them, my introduction blessing ditties, whatever you want to call them. Jane referred to it as a ditty, so that's what I'm going to stick with. So if you'd like to just get comfortable and feel your bottom on the chair and back supported, and just let the day go and just relax. Now we gather together in companionable unity to celebrate the rites of spring so beautifully. As we admire the blossoms blooming in the orchards in anticipation of the clock springing forwards. May our sacred mother adorn her springtime gown, upon her head a spiritual petal crown, heralding the reawakening of the earth and its bounty. So whether blessed by countryside or living as a townie, may we celebrate as I introduce my dear friend Jane, who has led many in ceremony since being ordained. So with great pleasure and some help from our tech, I hand over to Rev Jane Killingbeck. Over to you, Jane.
Thank you, Helen.
And could I ask you all to pause yourselves, sorry, not pause, to mute yourselves, not pause, during the ceremony, unless asked to do otherwise.
Thank you, Helen. So welcome, everybody. This is quite unusual for me to do one of these ceremonies on Zoom, and first time I've done one on Zoom, because usually I email them out to people, and we all sit down, well, some of us anyway, sit down at the same time and do it in our own homes. So this is a little bit different. So as Helen was saying, this is an opportunity to leave our busy lives behind for just a little while, to pause and to rest, to deepen our relationship with the divine, with each other, and with ourselves. And so gently bring yourself to this moment. Close your eyes. Settle yourself comfortably in your surroundings. Let go of all that is happening in your life outside of this place where you are sitting. When a thought of something you need to do or have forgotten and need to remember arises, just gently let it go again and allow your mind to relax. Sink into that space that lies behind thought. Let us invite the presence of the divine to be amongst us now as we gather together at the same time, even though not in the same space. May the one spirit, which is the essence of all faith traditions, unite us this evening in praise, in gratitude, in love, and in compassion. O thou, the source of all being, all life, all intelligence, thou, the transcendent and immanent, manifest and unmanifest, be amongst us and within each of us, a loving, still, harmonious presence, enabling us to discern the ways of truth, of beauty, of harmony, of unity in our lives. And so, if you have a candle near you, maybe just light the candle to begin this ceremony as a symbol of the source of all truth, all beauty, all harmony that people seek through many different traditions. So there's mine anyway. In the cycle of the year in the Northern Hemisphere, the first spring festival is celebrated at the beginning of February with Imbolc, Candlemas, and St. Bridget's Day. And so this spring equinox, Alban Eiler, is the second celebration of the return of the light, and is the astronomical moment when the darkness of winter night is balanced against the coming light of summer. It heralds Easter and Passover and the spring festivals of all other traditions. So let us proclaim this festival as it is done in the Druidic rites. With the blessings of earth, sea, and sky, may our ceremony begin. From the east, I proclaim the festival of Alban Eiler, the light of the earth at the time of the spring equinox. Glory to the shining ones, the hosts of heaven. From the west, I proclaim the symmetry of day and night. Glory to the powers of the green earth and its waters. From the south, I proclaim the equipoise of summer and winter. Glory to the powers of sun and moon. From the north, I proclaim the time of natural balance. Glory to the powers of inner darkness. Now our day and night in perfect balance. We stand at the threshold of dark and light, about to enter the bright half of the year. Quite frequently, the most efficacious way to pray is found in darkness, in emptiness. When we find ourselves simply open to the vast mystery surrounding us. When we center our hearts on a maybe indefinable faith and are absorbed into the divine presence. This is the contemplation of night, when darkness quiets the soul and we surrender to unknowing. Thomas Merton prays, "Your brightness is my darkness. I know nothing of you, and by myself, I cannot even imagine how to go about knowing you. If I imagine you, I am mistaken. If I understand you, I am deluded. If I am conscious and certain I know you, I am crazy. The darkness is enough. So let us listen to this Sufi chant. And I think some of you will know it anyway. I know you do, Susie and Helen. Praying that our hearts will reflect the light of the divine. And so please join in if you feel so inclined. I think it's in the chat. The words are in the chat, I think. So here we go. And now, relax and close your eyes and listen to this beautiful meditation poem by Brother Richard Hendrick, who is a Capuchin priest monk in Ireland. It's called The Softening of Spring. There will be cold nights still, and frosty mornings, a few at least. For another few weeks, I will still need to put the lamp on, to read in the early morning after meditation. But now, when I open the window, though it is still dark, the birds are singing in that quiet, reassuring, relearning the words once again kind of way. The evenings, too, are taking a little longer before shuffling off stage, out of winter night's sparkle, starry way. But I felt the softening some weeks ago now. That deep moment of knowing, just knowing in the blood, in the bones, that spring has come. It is not marked on any calendar, receives no celebration, no parade, and yet it always arrives. Arrives in its own way, at its own speed, regardless of the weather or the arguments over whether spring begins on this date or that date. It knows no date, owns only divine call. It is a breath of life, a subtle change upon the breeze exhaled by the earth as she waits, stirs, stretches. It comes perfumed in subtle notes of foxmusk and the honeyed tones of hyacinth and daffodil. It is the colour of new green tips reflected in the golden light of sharp sun. The deep wisdom of the old frog's eye squat settled in love spawning in the weedy ditches. It sets the world to loving, to nesting, to feeding, to flying home. But for me, it is a softening of the heart, a dropping of the shoulders, a breath exhaled, a promise fulfilled, a remembrance of sacred resurrection trust, an ancient oath remade that tells no dark, no night, no winter cold lasts forever. And spring comes always, and when it will. So yes, I shall wear my scarf a while more and smile now at the touch of frost and pray my heart, old and wintered, though at times it may be, shall ever soften too and breathe the grace of spring. We are living in times of great uncertainty and anxiety, given the huge numbers of people seeking refuge from the horrors of war and famine at this time, the sufferings of people in Turkey and Syria as a result of the recent earthquake, the relentless destruction and desecration of our mother, the earth, and the mounting losses of our other than human relations, the continuing effects of the pandemic, ongoing political instability, the problems caused by mass movements of people driven from their homelands for various reasons, and the problems of housing and healthcare in our own country. As John O'Donoghue writes in his book, Divine Beauty, in our hearts, some natural ease has been broken. Our trust in the future has lost its innocence. We now know that anything can happen from 1 minute to the next. We no longer feel safe, and this insecurity has reached deep into our hearts. The traditional structures of shelter are shaking. We are suddenly thrown back on ourselves. Politics, religion, and economics, and the institutions of family and community have all become unsure. Maybe it seems completely naive, but perhaps now is the time to invoke and awaken beauty. It is because we have so disastrously neglected the beautiful and allowed ugliness to become the norm that we find ourselves in such terrible crisis. The media relentlessly feeds us much that is trivial and banal and mediocre. Property development creates so many buildings which lack grace and mystery, which influences the atmosphere in schools and workplaces and our communities, and in turn results in such degradation of our environment that we are turning more and more of our beautiful earth into a wasteland. Much of the stress and emptiness that haunts us can be traced back to our lack of attention to beauty. Internally, the mind becomes dull if it remains unvisited. One of my favorite wise women of the 20th century, Evelyn Underhill, wrote, "For lack of attention, 1,000 forms of loveliness elude us every day." And these are the words of Mirabai, the 16th century renowned Indian poet saint, loosely translated by Daniel Ladinsky in Love Poems from God. "I know a cure for sadness. Let your hands touch something that makes your eyes smile. I bet there are 100 things close by that can do that. Look at beauty's gift to us. Her power is so great, she enlivens the earth, the sky, our soul." As we grow increasingly deaf to and cynical about the warm platitudes of the people in charge of our institutions, we become aware of the urgency and necessity for positive change. In such unsheltered and uncertain times, we yearn for the order and wholeness and joy that beauty brings. Beauty is a disturbing force in a positive way. dissolving the old cages that confine us as prisoners in an unlived life. Beauty inspires us and offers us refreshment and the remembrance of our true origin and destination. So here are two beautiful poems. I will read each of them 3 times so that we can hear them first with our ears, then with our minds, and then take them into our hearts. The Way It Is by William Savage. There's a thread you follow. It goes amongst things that change, but it doesn't change. People wonder about what you are pursuing. You have to explain about the thread, but it is hard for others to see. While you hold it, you can't get lost. Tragedies happen. People get hurt or die, and you suffer and get old. Nothing you do can stop time unfolding. You don't ever let go of the thread. And again. There's a thread you follow. It goes among things that change, but it doesn't change. People wonder about what you are pursuing. You have to explain about the thread, but it is hard for others to see. While you hold it, you can't get lost. Tragedies happen. People get hurt or die, and you suffer and get old. Nothing you do can stop time's unfolding. You don't ever let go of the thread. And for the third time. There's a thread you follow. It goes among things that change, but it doesn't change. People wonder about what you are pursuing. You have to explain about the thread, but it is hard for others to see. While you hold it, you can't get lost. Tragedies happen. People get hurt or die, and you suffer and get old. Nothing you do can stop time's unfolding. You don't ever let go of the thread. And now a poem by Denise Levertov. As swimmers dare to lie face to the sky, and water bears them, as hawks rest upon air, and air sustains them, so would I learn to attain free fall and float into Creator Spirit's deep embrace, knowing no effort earns that all-surrounding grace. And again. As swimmers dare to lie face to the sky, and water bears them, as hawks rest upon air, and air sustains them, so would I learn to attain free fall and float into Creator Spirit's deep embrace, knowing no effort earns that all surrounding grace. And for the third time. As swimmers dare to lie face to the sky, and water bears them. As hawks rest upon air, and air sustains them. So would I learn to attain free fall and float into Creator Spirit's deep embrace, knowing no effort earns that all surrounding grace. So these poems affirm our commitment to all that is real, all that is good, true, and beautiful, and urge us to become accustomed to change as being the normal way of things, seeking that unchanging deep embrace, that thread which we can hold to through all the turmoil of our lives. Equinoxes are always about relinquishing what no longer serves us, as we relinquish, usually with great relief, the dark days of winter. And they're about embracing the resurgence of life and light within and without. They're also about balance, finding that equipoise in our lives between busyness and rest, between contemplation and action, between our compassion and our sadness and anger and despair when we see what is happening in the world, and about still finding joy where we can within our own lives, about finding the middle way in all things. I remember when I was younger, it always felt to me that the way of integrity was to be found in following my ideals completely to the extreme with no compromise. I was probably quite annoyingly evangelical about whatever I held as important, whether it was charismatic Christianity, which I embraced in my late teens, or more prosaically, washing my baby's nappies in the stream rather than go and ask to use a friend's washing machine when we had chosen to live with no electricity in the Kerry Mountains. It's only latterly that I began to see that there is wisdom in a middle path between extremes, a balance that can be so much less opinionated and judgmental, and far gentler towards oneself and to others. A place of not always knowing the answers, and of knowing that there often is not one answer anyway, or perhaps no answer at all. A place of listening and a place of humility. The equinox invites us to rest in the middle space, to consider from there the way forward with less definition and more surrender, and to take refuge in not knowing where the truth lies, only in the end that there are certain values we can hold on to, certain truths which lie within all religions and all myths and all traditions. It's a time when maybe too it's good to examine our own biases and see how our own experience is distorted by our belief systems, the culture we've grown up within, the newspapers we trust, the leaders we don't trust, the books we have read, the parents we were brought up by, and so on. To the extent that we allow consciousness of those distortions of truth to become apparent, we are able to begin to laugh at them and not take them too seriously anymore. Relinquish them, let them go. And the way that can be done, I think most effectively, is through the practice of contemplation, the allowing of times of silence in our lives, whether while walking, washing up, knitting, running, or just sitting, whatever allows us to access that still silent place within, from which all truth and wisdom and love arise, so that we can live our lives clothed in those graces. So now let us make ourselves comfortable and close our eyes and let the beauty of silence enfold us for a little while. I weave a silence onto my lips. I weave a silence into my mind. I weave a silence within my heart. We'll just take a couple of minutes to rest in that silence. Our life journey can be a journey of ascent to beauty, but not everything in us is beautiful. We need to undertake the meticulous work, clearance and clarification in order that our inner beauty may shine. So now light a nightlight from your central candle. And as you do so, pay attention to anything that may arise in your mind, which is maybe shadowing your beauty and needs to be cleared. And now let us keep silence for a little while more and bring to mind anyone we know for whom we would like to ask for a blessing. The Quakers have a beautiful tradition of sitting quietly and holding people who they know in the light. So you can do this now by bringing to mind a light-filled space and gently bringing the image or name of that person into that light. And now slowly open your eyes. Blaise Pascal said, "In difficult times, you should always carry something beautiful in your mind." Perhaps as spring enlivens us, we can choose a new rhythm of journeying through our lives in which we are more conscious of beauty and more open to inviting her to reveal herself to us in all the situations we travel through. And now let us sit back and listen to Janine Jansen playing this most famous and joyous evocation of spring in a beautiful version of Vivaldi's La Primavera from the Four Seasons. Hopefully.
Technical error, give me a second.
Okay.
I could maybe hum it.
Is that a problem?
Apologies, it's not working.
Oh well. You can listen to it afterwards, maybe instead. You all know, I'm sure, what it sounds like anyway, so let us then finish with a meditation on life's journey from the Jewish tradition. Fill me, O God, with thy spirit. Let me so open my heart to thee that I become aware of thy presence. Let thy strength within me guide me in the ways of life, impelling me to love and keeping me from fear. Let thy light within me shine forth on my path of life, to show me the way amidst the confusion of circumstance. Let thy spirit within me sustain me in the face of danger. Give me tranquility of spirit always, and with it, the determination to work for love with all my might. So I pray, give grace and power to my life, and lead me to bless you. Thank you so much for being here with me for this time of reflection. I will probably be back at the time of the alternate, the third festival in honour of spring, to share another ceremony with you. And in the meantime, may the spirits of the four directions be thanked for their blessings. It is ended in the beauty of light and love. Please blow out your candle and sit for a few moments in quiet. Thank you, everybody.
Well, thank you, Jane. That was really beautiful. I'm sure everyone would like to show their appreciation in the way of Zoom by waving their hands or whatever gesture feels comfortable to you.
Thank you.
But before we go our separate ways, I'd like to remind everyone of the optional tip jar. I think the link is somewhere in, that's right, into chat. Or you might find it on the email that you used as a link to come in here. But I'd like to not only thank Jane, but also to thank our techie Sass, who against all odds has managed to, I think, did a wonderful job this evening.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yeah, I was meant to be doing it myself, but we had certain technical difficulties. So thank you so much for that. And so let's all go our separate ways. And once again, give our gesture of farewell. And until we meet again, and thank you all for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.